lies in this way through YSI of NEET.
Right.
So,
Yeah, please go ahead.
I'm talking to you.
Yeah. Please go ahead, sir. Go ahead. We are listening.
Yeah, fine. Sir. I'm a basic mechanical engineering graduate. I did post-graduation in machine science, and then later I did the PhD in mechanical field and went on to take profession right after my UG undergraduation, and I was sponsored into post graduation, and I did PhD in part-time mode all day, and I am a purely academician. Didn't have much experience in industry.
Never mind, sir.
Yes,
You are an engineer.
short. Yeah,
so certainly you have a fair experience.
So are you an engineer by basic?
He is a mechanical engineer.
Mechanical.
That's why he's
I am also a mechanical engineer. 1975 batch.
Oh, it's great. I'm a junior to you.
Yeah.
I did my graduation by 94.
Okay, too young. So, sir, can you connect your network with little bit better network internet connection if you have any alternative? Otherwise, it's okay. We are not able to hear you properly. Some network issue seems like that in your area, maybe.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah, if you can change the network, that will be great. Otherwise, it's okay. We are comfortable with that. No problem.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so Saurabh ji, I will request if you can share your introduction to sir, so that sir will be having a fair idea.
Yeah, in the meantime, we can, that is better.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, sir. So, good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. My name is Saurabh Jaiswal, and currently I'm working with Shriram Automobile India Limited as a brand and communication manager.
Shriram?
So, Shriram Automobile India Limited. It's a part of Shriram Finance. It's a part of Shriram Finance Group. So, I've joined the Shriram Automobile last year in the month of July. So, 1 year is just about to complete on the 18th of July. And here I'm handling all the internal and external communication, as well as with the coordination of internal and external shareholders. So we we have a team who execute overall like ATL, BTL communications in ground. And before this, I was working with agencies, advertising agencies. So I worked for Head-On Impact for almost 5 years, and before this, Geometry Global and Compass Network. So major project actually I have handled with the agency was a national mission for clean Ganga and making of develop India. So that was the major project by the government. So I was the part of the team, and I have handled that project centrally. So there are because I belong to Allahabad, there are a few members in the family. Thank you.
You are basically qualified as?
Yes. So I have done actually, sir, BSc in Hotel and Hospitality Management from IHM Ahmedabad, and currently I'm pursuing from IMT Ghaziabad, PGD, Executive PGDM in Marketing, and as well as from the Marketing course from YSI.
गुजराती गरबा देखा है?
Right, sir. बहुत देखा. I was there almost for 8 years.
Oh, काफी लंबा समय है. Then you must have enjoyed it.
Right, sir.
Yes. Yeah, Dheeraj bhai.
Yes, Dheeraj.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Myself, Dheeraj Kumar. I am having a total of 15 years of experience. I'm a 2008 batch electrical engineer pass out from Kurukshetra University. Currently, I am working as a supply chain manager in a Renew Power based out in Gurgaon, looking after the procurement for wind and solar projects across India. And earlier I have worked with the different companies with L&T, then with Vedanta Group and the Power Grid Corporation of India Limited. So it's different profiles I have handled, like for the project execution, project coordination, the supply chain management as a project coordinator. So different roles, it has been a good experience. And with this course, I am looking to enhance more knowledge about supply chain also for today's and tomorrow, whatever the course is. Thank you.
Good,
Right.
good.
Yeah. So I will request
Renew
you,
power
sir,
is a
yeah.
ongoing challenge
Mhm.
and ongoing expansion.
Yeah, both
It's a
going
big
together
company.
only.
Renew Power has
Yeah.
developed into a good big company.
Yeah, correct.
So I will request you, sir, to share your experience as well, and after that you can start your presentation.
Sure.
Maybe other student in between may join. Right.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Myself, Mayank Yagnik. I'm based in Gujarat, born and brought up in Gujarat only, but I have moved a lot around India and abroad. Passed out BE Mechanical in 1975. Then for the first 10 years, I was a hardcore production shop floor engineer with Mafatlal Group of Industries. They had a plant in Baroda and they were making textile machineries. So I was there as a shop floor engineer, and for 10 years, it was a great experience by working on hand. Out of 10, 5 years were with Mafatlal and 5 years was with another company. In those days, it was a very major name, Star Group of Industries. They were also making textile machinery. I was trained in Italy for 3.5 months for that company for quality and production management with their collaborators. So somewhere during those 10 years, in those days when we graduated and we were working, a lot of, in Gujarat, there was a lot of, not only in Gujarat, everywhere in India, there was a lot of unionism. The unions were very powerful everywhere in the industry. And it used to be always a matter of discussions between the company and the unions about so many things. So for 10 years, as somebody at a middle management level, we were always in front of the labor because we are on the shop floor. That is where first shift, second shift, third shift and all, I have gone through the entire gamut of production. So we used to, then I found it difficult personally to cope up with this tussle between the management and the union, where we used to get trapped. We are supposed to do a lot of fine balancing to see that both the sides are equally maintained. Can't take sides all the time. So then somewhere in 1984, I decided to quit this manufacturing workshop. It's a production manufacturing, and then joined one very big company in Gujarat as a materials manager. And that was the start of my career in materials management. I used to, my career there was with an electronic company called Gujarat Communications, and they were making all the electronic equipments. All the airports in India in those days, they were equipped with guiding system for the planes to land in the center of the runway. So that system is installed at every airport. That all was developed by the GCL, and we were the ones who installed these things. Then a lot of products for Doordarshan, for program live telecast, and so many things. Radars. Then entire Yamuna River flood forecasting system was developed. So basically, it was an electronic company. I started there with handling their main source, inventory management, wherein we had 60,000 of components. And component means, in electronics, a resistor can be as small as the tip of the pin. So it can be as small as that. And The biggest one would be hardly a printed circuit board. That's what you can say. Everything falls within that. So that kind of a stores we have managed successfully. It was a semi-government company, so audit and all was quite tough. So inventory management was a big challenge, which I did it for almost 4 years. And then I went into export import. That's another department in the same company. So where I was handling the complete licensing. In those days, licensing was very essential for any import that you want to do. It was quite a complicated subject in those days. There were 10 types of lists, OGL and license and restricted and all. And it used to be a major challenge to define a product within a particular category. So there, I used to go to Delhi very frequently in government, DGFT and all, customs. And that was a major challenge which started in that company in export-import department. Then I shifted to a well-known company called MAN MAN. They had established their service center in Baroda. So MAN MAN has about more than 250 installations in India for turbines and compressors and all. And I was there as a materials manager. So a lot of supply chain related issues. I was there for 7 years, went to Germany at least 3 times. I have been, when I was in GCL, I went to Australia also for technical know-how exchange. When we had to do the collaboration, I was one of the team member to go there and sort out everything, documentation, procedures. So in MAN also, I went about 3 times to Germany for a lot of similar data transfers and data management and materials shipments and all. After my MAN, the major career was with one Bombay-based company called Express Global Logistics, a pure logistics company. And there I was handling, I joined that company because in those days, this Enron power project was coming up. You know, those who are there in little of that period, Enron power project came up with collaboration of GE. GE in General Electric USA, they established a power project in near Mumbai. Unfortunately, so I was one of the team members. We were given the contract for complete customs clearance, freight forwarding, and delivering up to site. So that was the first phase was 1800 crores. So we moved the material, imported, moved, shifted, everything. We did it for 1800 crores in phase 1. Phase 2 had started actually. Unfortunately, there were some major issues with the government of Maharashtra and GE. So the whole project got stalled in just on its 5th year. So first phase was commissioned also. 750 megawatt power was being generated. But then second phase and LNG terminal and all was left halfway. GE went back to USA and that entire project got closed down. That's another story. But so there I was very actively involved. We handled the logistics such as undersea laying, cable laying project. Many of us might be knowing also, but otherwise it's a very interesting thing that all over the world, there are about 30 plus routes where under the sea, on the seabed, they have laid communication cables. They are quite around 12-inch to 14-inch big one cables. So suppose tomorrow there is a failure of internet, then what happens? So then there is going to be some amount of communication will continue to be operated. So those projects, I was one of the team members from Mumbai to Sri Lanka. So we laid the cable. So that was a very interesting, very challenging job. Then yes, after that, I left that And then I joined Adani's also for about 3.5 years in Gurgaon. I was in charge of logistics for their cold chain management. Adani's they have 3 units in Shimla. It's around another 50 kilometers from Shimla on the hilltops, where they purchase the apples from the farmers in the apple season. They store it. Now, storing is also, it's not a normal fridge or a air-conditioned store. What they do is, they store it in the each store can take up to 8 to 10,000 tons of apple. Now, once they store, they also have a fully automatic machinery where when a farmer delivers the apples to them, they are washed, cleaned, and then shape, size, and color get separated, and then they go into individual baskets according to their shape, size, and color. And then these baskets are stored in the stores. They remove the oxygen from that store and fill with nitrogen. So what happens is, because of there is no oxygen, the fruits don't ripen. So then once the whole store was full, we used to close it and then remove the oxygen, fill with nitrogen, and then leave it as it is. There are such 3 stores in every location. So around total 20,000 tons of apples they were buying. And I was responsible for a complete supply chain right from those Himachal Pradesh, right till all over the country. Fresh, what happens was, when in the season of fresh apples, you get from both sources, Himachal as well as Kashmir. So normally till April, middle of April, you get fresh apple from everywhere. So what was the company's strategy was, in April 15th after April 15th, they would open store one by one. And then these apples, when you take out, they are as fresh as they were plucked from the tree. That's a very good technology. Very few people know about Adani's this business. But it has been working very successfully because the farmers don't have to go out for selling their product. It's a very good thing. Then I was responsible for entire logistics. So on any given day, there were minimum 10 trucks which were being dispatching from each of the locations. There were 3 locations. So on any given day, we had around 50 to 60 trucks plying on the road till they reach the destination. Now, in those days, internet was not very powerful. So mobile communication was the main. And these are all reefer trucks. And they had to maintain a temperature of 18 degrees centigrade, constant, not very high, not low. So that was a great challenge. I did it for 3.5 years. Trucks were going from Himachal to Chennai, Himachal to Kolkata or West Bengal on this side, Gujarat on the other side. And there were no complaints as far as the quality of the apple they were finally delivered. तो अभी जो आप अप्रैल के बाद जो एप्पल खाओगे वो सारे अडानीज के आएंगे मार्केट ऐसा नहीं है, कश्मीर से भी आते हैं, but this is what they have.
This is the power of the real experience. Like you're telling what exactly has happened. Yeah, so I think students other maybe joining in between, because supply chain management is such a subject. Everybody thinks, marketing guys thinks it's not for me, and digital marketing guy thinks it's not for me. So this is a mixed batch. So maybe they may be joining in between. So I will request you to kindly start your PPT, and so that you can interact and you can talk, and maybe correlation will be there, right, sir?
Sure.
Yeah, please continue.
So today what we are going to do is, I will give you some overview about the supply chain management and how what are the major things that 1 minute. Huh? Yeah. Are you able to see?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
we can,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. 1 minute. Huh? So, when we talk of supply chain, Dheeraj is already in as a part of supply chain person. So, what I have observed is that supply chain is not something which is uh, something unique. It is all around us. On our day-to-day life, we see supply chain, but unknowingly or knowingly, we are not able to know that we are a part of a supply chain. For example, if you have to travel abroad, then what you do is that, yeah, you make arrangements for your travel from your home to the airport, from your airport to the, you catch a flight and then reach the destination. And then at destination, again, you make your arrangements to travel to your final ultimate destination. These are a very simple example. When you are traveling for your pleasure in India or abroad, this is what you do, that you start planning all your movements, how you will go, where you will stay, what you will eat, where you will locally, what you will do. These are all supply chains. Everywhere you will see a supply chain is the only thing which works around all of us on daily basis. And for industry, it is a very serious subject. Nowadays, if you see that even globally, the supply chain became a critical issue during Ukrainian war, wherein in the Black Sea, the Russian blocked the supply chain of wheat, which was being produced and shipped by Ukrainians last year. So then there was suddenly the whole world went crazy. Everybody felt that now there is a shortage, and it did create shortage of wheat in most of the countries. So then, because of the political understandings and all, Turkey played a major role, and finally that supply chain route was established. So supply chain has become a very critical nowadays, with a lot of developments that are happening and a lot of e-marketing. The supply chain is a very critical for every company nowadays. Yeah, this is the famous example of supply chain. You know this Dabbawala of Mumbai? Anybody?
Yes.
See, in Mumbai, these Dabbawalas have been existing for last about 50 years or so. Now, they collect the tiffins from every home and deliver it to your office. Now, they don't have any computers. Actually, I would recommend you that Mumbai Dabbawala, if you want to study as a case study, it is available in detail on the net. This is a very classic example that, and they have given presentation even abroad in Harvard University and others. How this Dabbawala, without any computer or without any latest electronic tools, how they are able to, there is no mistake. In the same office, if there are 10 dabbas to be given before lunch, now this is very important. before lunch. So 1 o'clock is the lunch time. Everybody gets it at between 12:45 or 12:30 and 1 o'clock. And there is no mixing. So they have their own signs, which they put it on the dabba. This dabba is an external box. Internally, you have to put your own tiffin. So when they go to your house, the wife will prepare a tiffin and put it inside this box. And the box on the top will have marking and address, whatever it is. So this has become a very famous case that dabba wala supply chain, the whole world is amazed at how they are doing it without using any computers or latest SCM tools. I would recommend that you please study this particular case study. What is SCM? SCM is a complete cycle right from raw material till it reaches consumer. That's in short. Raw material, supplier, manufacturing, transportation, retailer, and consumer. This is a very simple view that I have shown. And then everywhere it is connected by logistics. So supply chain and logistics they go hand in hand. And as the demand goes, the more the raw material, the more the suppliers and more the manufacturing. So supply chain management is basically a chain of events that links a manufacturer to a consumer. And for a manufacturer, what they need is a supplier and raw materials. So this is what is SCM. Every company has an SCM. Actually, there are no separate departments like SCM. When we were working, when I was young and I was working in the SCM logistics industry, there was no separate supply chain or a logistics department as such. It was manufacturing, purchase, stores. It was called like that. Factory, purchase, stores, and transportation. It used to be called as transportation. And mostly the transportation was either handled by purchase department or by stores department. So there was no such separate mechanism of logistics department. And the word logistics also came quite late in the industry, somewhere around 1962. And before that, there was no word like SCM. It was only stores and transportations, manufacturing. That's it. So even today, it is so surprising and still that people, when you talk of logistics, people understand only transportation. But it is not so. Logistics is not only transportation. It has a number of areas like warehousing, distribution. So many things are getting included in logistics. Now, that was a simple thing. Now, if you say an integrated supply chain man, this is what currently is being used by the industry, wherein there are a lot of integrations which have taken place. Purchasing and supplier partnering, inventory management and control, demand and lead management, materials management, manufacturing, storage and transportation, order fulfillment, and customer analysis. Now, today what the companies are more focusing is on not only manufacturing a good quality product, at the same time, they want to reduce their supply chain, they want to improve their supply chain to reduce the time that is required to deliver a product to a customer. Because nowadays, nobody has so much of time. On Amazon, if you want to order, you will first see what is the status of availability. Then you will like to order those items so that you get it next day or 2 days. Uske zyada you don't want to wait. There, the challenges of the industries have been going up as the delivery periods are reduced. Now, previously purchasing was there, inventory management was there, materials management was there, and storage and transportation was there. Now, the new things what has got introduced into this integrated supply chain is demand and lead time management. Now, previously this demand and lead time was being done by the purchase department. I mean, purchase department had a very large role in those days. So the feedback would come from sales department about the demand, and then lead time was known by the purchase department. So based on the demand, the purchase department would adjust to select the optimum lead time so that the procurement manufacturing can be done faster. So order fulfillment. Now this is a new word which has come after e-commerce. Order fulfillment means when you have placed an order, like on Amazon or Flipkart, when you are placing an order, they use this language of order fulfillment. Previously, this was not the order fulfillment word was not used by the manufacturing industry. So in e-commerce, order fulfillment means that they are able to deliver you in time and fulfill your what you had ordered. Customer analysis is another subject topic which has become very vital, particularly after the e-commerce. It was existing previously also, but it was not very seriously being taken. But now customer analysis has become one of the key point of analysis for every company. That's why you will see that whenever you purchase something online, then they will, or when you talk to their helpline, then you will get a feedback form. They would request you to please give your feedback about the product or about their services. Why? Because they collect all such feedbacks and come out with an analysis that how is their efficiency. So nowadays, supply chain has become a very integrated issue. So here it is. I'm just giving you a definition for your records. That supply chain is what it does. It outlines the strategy and activities which go into planning, sourcing, producing, and delivering goods. This entire gamut of planning, sourcing, producing, and delivering goods is supply chain management. Supply chain management is not only the transportation. Why others have left also? I think so. Two of them have left or disconnected. Anyhow. Whereas what is logistics? It is a part of supply chain, but this is a world famous definition. It focuses on the right product being at the right place, at the right time, at the right price. So this is what logistics speaks about. That it has to be the right product that you have ordered that should be available at the right place, means wherever you want it to be delivered. At the right time, you wanted I need a delivery on so and so date. In the industry, there is a slight difference between e-commerce and industry. In the industry, delivery dates are defined by the customer. Whereas in e-commerce, the delivery dates are normally being Amazon and Flipkart, they will give you it will arrive on this date and they will give you complete tracking. And at the right price. So this is a definition of logistics. And how to get them there to ultimate customer. This is about logistics, but supply chain is a very wide area of planning. In industry, you plan manufacturing, sourcing of products, you manufacture and then you deliver, and handling returns. Now this handling returns word also has come up after the e-commerce. You receive a product and you find that it is a damaged product, then you call up Amazon or Flipkart and they will tell you that, okay, we are giving you replacement and our courier, when he comes to give you replacement, you have please hand over the damaged part package back to us. Then it goes back all the way through the same sequence by which it came back to the same manufacturer. So that is a return policy. Means in how many days you will return the product. The background you are not aware. What you see is only courier coming to your house. He gives you a replacement and he takes away your defective product. उसके पीछे जो होता है, that nobody is aware, but it goes through a very long exhaustive cycle of activities. As I said, the original phrase was in 1982. This phrase was by Keith Oliver. He's one of the great personalities in materials management. Now, what he said was, SCM is based on the idea that nearly every product that comes to market results from efforts of various organizations that make up a supply chain. As we have seen previously, it is right from planning till delivery. So it's a lot of people are getting involved, and that each becomes a chain, and that is how it becomes a complete supply chain. Now, this is what I have understood, and I have written down this. It's not supply chain management is not something which is always taught in the books. It is an art of management. It is something Dheeraj would understand more because he's from supply chain side. It's an art of management, of providing the right product at the right time, at the right place, and at the right cost to the customer. So it's an art. It is not a mechanical process alone. Yeah, there are systems, there are hardware and softwares, there are transportation. Lot of things are there in the supply chain. But basically, it's an art. And only those who successful supply chain managers are those who have learned this art. How to improve your supply chain management, how to optimize your resources, how to take care of the complaints from the customer, and it's a continuous process. Supply chain management improvement is a continuous process. So that's why I call it as an art. One minute. So again, it is slightly repetition with a different meaning. Then SCM uses logistics to deliver goods to the consumer. But it ultimately strives to boost the bottom line and increases a company's competitive edge. This is most important nowadays. It is not about delivering the goods, but the optimization of supply chain management definitely will improve the bottom line, that is, increase the profitability and competition. There are so many platforms from where you are buying, or so many industries from where you are buying, so many transporters from where you can take their services. But what happens is that you consistently try to improve all those to see that you are able to deliver in time at a very optimum cost. Only then the company's bottom line will improve. The more the money you spend on supply chain, individual chains, that is transportation or warehousing. All those things are a direct cost to the company. In Indian Institute of Materials Management, there is a saying, every rupee saved on materials is a direct profit to the company. So inventory control becomes all the more important. Similarly, transportation. So the logistics is to be used and optimized. Okay, now 1 minute. Supply chain is in the crawling stage of using artificial intelligence. Now what has happened? Now everybody of us know that AI is becoming more and more aggressive nowadays. For last 1 year, a lot of discussions have been taking place on AI. Now there is a threat that the moment AI will take over the industry, many people will lose their jobs, or it can have negative effects. So entire Europe, USA, and many countries now, they are stopping people in developing the AI technology beyond a point. Already in the newspapers, there have been many cases where because of the AI, people have taken it negatively and used it negatively. The recent most example is day before yesterday, one young boy, with the help of AI, he was able to penetrate the in UK, London, the Queen's Palace. It has come in the news last 2 days that boy has been caught finally. Now they want to understand what to do with him. So he has used that in a negative manner. So a lot of discussions are happening, but at your age and your experience, believe me, you have to start learning about AI slowly but steadily as to what is going to be the impact of AI into your business. It is not only supply chain, it will happen in every business, every department, be it HR, be it manufacturing, everywhere, be it supply chain. Next 5 years, you will see that if you are not knowing AI products to be used in your line of professional career, you will start lagging back, because that is going to be the future, that maybe 10, 20 years down the line, AI will be ruling the world. People are afraid to that extent. So this is a time to start learning a little bit more of AI also. But still it is a very early age. Still you have one has about, because so far it has not become so popular in as far as the knowledge sharing is concerned. This has become a part of an individual. On Google, you will see their AI tools, chatbot, and so many tools are already being now offered by Google, which you can download and then start using it. You will be amazed how fast they work. So again, the key difference between SCM and logistics. SCM covers a large area where logistics covers delivering of the cargo and services. Logistics are activities in a supply chain management. It's one of the part of supply chain management, not the complete supply chain management. That is why I tell people nowadays, when people talk of supply chain, they understand only transportation. But no, it is not so. SCM works towards improving processes to create competitive advantage, while logistics emphasizes meeting customer needs and expectations. So both go hand in hand, and logistics is one of the most important aspect of a supply chain. Because right from bringing raw material in time to the factory, then within the factory, whatever that movement happens. And then after manufacturing is done, putting it in the warehouse, then from warehouse to wherever it's to be dispatched by transport. So it's a complete logistics area which plays very important role for any given industry. Logistics focuses on the efficient and cost-effective delivery of goods to the customer. This is the bottom line for any logistics. Supply chain management controls the development of raw materials into finished goods that move from supply to producer to warehouse to retailer and to consumer. This is complete supply chain. Now, this is something what Tom Peters is one of the very famous consultant in Europe. He had said that leaders win through logistics, vision, sure strategy. But when you go to war, you need to have both toilet paper and bullets at the right place, at the right time. He has given this example of a critical activity, that how logistics plays an important role in every field, including war. Then we go to, in logistics, then further comes his distribution channels. There are various distribution channels. Is producer to agent to wholesaler to distributor to retailer to consumer. Now, each of these, what I have shown you here, in the next one, there is no agent. Producer, wholesaler, distributor, retailer, consumer. Then producer, distributor, retailer, consumer. Then producer, aggregator, and consumer. Now, the first one is very common among food grain industry. Fruits, vegetables, wheat, and all those type of material, there are always agents. The farmer produces it. There is an agent. Now, there can be a government body as an agent, because now APMCs are there everywhere. Then there is a wholesale. Then the wholesaler is buying from that. Wholesaler gives to distributor, retailer, and consumer. Now, in this chain, everybody keeps his own profit. So ultimately, the consumer gets at a higher price than what the producer gets. But that's the way it is. Then there are areas where agents are not there. Now, normally, producers, wholesalers, distributors, retailers, and consumer. Now, then producer, distributor, retailer, and consumer. Now, producer, distributor, retailer is a chain which is being frequently used in pharmaceutical industry. Mostly it is distributed either through, there are no wholesalers as far as pharma industries are concerned. Pharma industries, normally they give it to their distributor, their nominated, appointed distributor, and the distributors in turn gives it to the retailer, and then the retailer gives it to the consumer. The last one, producer, aggregator, and consumer. This is the latest e-commerce where Amazon and Flipkart are aggregators. They play a role of aggregators. Now, nowadays, these 3PL activities are considered by most of the companies. The companies think, the manufacturing companies, they think that they should concentrate more on their basic line of activity, which is manufacturing. So, whereas logistics is not their business. So, most of the companies in India have started, this is not now, it has happened last many years now, last 8-10 years. The 3PL logistics has become very popular, where an organization outsources its logistics services to a third party. So there are many third-party organizations in India who are going strong. All Cargo Logistics. Previously, there was a Gati. Now Gati has been taken over by All Cargo. Then there are Mahindra Logistics. There are many names in the industry today. Those who are offering excellent third-party services. Now, what does third-party service means? The third-party logistics providers typically specialize in integrated operations of warehousing and transportation. So what does the third party do? They have their own warehouses, they have their own team, they have their own equipment, they have their own transport vehicles, or they may hire from outside also, but they specialize in warehousing and transportation, which can be adjusted to the customer's need. Now, customer, based on his market condition, some products may flow faster, some products may flow slower, some may become obsolete, a competitor does something. So there are constant fluctuations in the market conditions. So these 3PL service providers, they are specializing in this warehousing and distribution or transportation services. Previously, this used to be within the company. Purchase department most of the time was using this transportation and warehousing activities. But then what happens? There was a set of separate people to handle this warehousing and transportation. So when a company has its own warehouse, the company had to have the complete human manpower for managing that warehouse. And then transportation, the company had to do negotiations with the transporters, and so it used to take quite a lot of not only energy, but lot of manpower were getting engaged in these services, whereas company's basic was it will only manufacture a particular product in which it is best in the market. So the companies thought, this is not our area. So 3PL logistics has become very popular nowadays. Now this 3PL works also in different ways. It can be outgoing 3PL services, incoming, that is raw material, and one more service. I have seen that 10 to 20% of the companies are also offering their in-house logistics, that is storage in the stores and providing the raw material at the right place in the manufacturing area at the right time. I have done myself a similar case with, there is a Chennai-based company, Tube Products. They manufacture tubes for car seat. And we have a Maruti plant in Gujarat. So this company in Chennai, we got a contract from them. We established our stores in near Maruti plant. It was about 1.5 kilometers away from the Maruti plant. And we used to receive the complete pipes from them, various sizes of pipes we used to receive from Chennai. We used to segregate them as per their dimension, size. And now Maruti had a schedule that every day morning at a particular time, that time can vary, but let us say at 8 o'clock in the morning, I need this many number of pieces of this many sizes at a particular station on their production line. So there is just-in-time management. Maruti never stores cargo into their process line. So we used to deliver, and that also would happen previous day in the evening. Previous day in the evening before 5 o'clock, they used to send us an email. So we had to, and there was a specific method of bundling those pipes, because the process line of Maruti was all robotics. So there was this method of bundling. So we used to bundle them and make it ready in crates the way it was agreed by the agreed as per Maruti. Then at 7:45 latest, our vehicle would be at that particularly delivery point of car manufacturing process line. So this is also one of the supply chain management, which is called a 3PL supply chain and just in time. So Maruti never, आपने मारुति का कभी स्टोर देखा नहीं होगा या वो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सिर्फ कार मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करते हैं. They don't manufacture any parts. So thousands of parts which are going in one car, they are all being manufactured by their vendors and they are delivered in time as per their schedule every day by most of the vendors. Now, who are the third-party logistics service providers? The freight forwarders. Now, freight forwarders are the people who handle your freight, any cargo for exports or for imports, or within India movement also. So they are called freight forwarders, courier companies, and other companies integrating and offering subcontracted logistics and transportation services. There is one classic case I will give you, that in Verawal in Gujarat, there is a company which is manufacturing caustic soda. The daily production was 200 tons per day. And they were distributing around 70 to that 200 tons was supposed to be taken out every day. And they had given a schedule around 100 tons towards Delhi, some 50 tons towards Maharashtra. So they had given this schedule. What we used to do was daily production, we used to pick up from their stores. We used to put it on our trucks, take it to Mundra port, because Verawal to Delhi by road was exhaustive costing. See, this is where the company benefited from the logistics solution we provided. Previously, what was happening was they were loading the trucks at Verawal in Gujarat, and the trucks used to go up to Delhi and deliver at their warehouses. Then from those warehouses, again, it used to go to about 40 distributors in and around Delhi. So they had about 3 to 3.5% of wastages by way of baggage getting broken. They are getting torn during transportation, or they were getting pressed hard, D-shaped. So they are having around 3.5% of wastages of product because of transportation, logistics. We gave them this solution. We had our own trucks, so we picked up the material from the stores. We had a trained labor. We had trained the labor how to handle those products. They are in 50 kg bags, so not to hook them. Then we provided them the proper platforms to see that the material is put in the vehicle. Then we created pallets, and then there was a stack height. Yani one top of the other, how many bags can be put? 50 kg. If you put 8 bags, the bottom one will get a load of 400 kg. So we had optimized the stack height also in the truck. And then by that, those trucks from Verawal to Mundra port, we used to take it by road. At Mundra port, Adanis have that train to Delhi, freight train to Delhi. It has been existing for last many years. So there is a freight train which takes imported containers towards Delhi and brings empty containers from Delhi back to Mundra port. This business has been going on for many years. So in the same rake means a complete train, so we used to hire a couple of containers and we used to store them. We transfer the cargo from trucks to container. Now we never used to bring it down. The truck would wait, the container would be there. So straight away from the truck, it used to go to the container. And then ultimately used to go to Delhi. There is a Patli where the terminal is there of Adani's. In Patli, we used to bring it in the warehouse. And from that warehouse to 40 distributors in and around Delhi, this was the entire thing was our responsibility. We did it for 1.5 years. And believe me, the amount of savings the company had was from 3.5%. The wastage came to 0.5%. Company had given us a mandate that even if you can maintain up to 1% also, we have no problem. But we brought it down to 0.5%. Out of 1,000 bags, only 2 or 3 bags used to be defective in terms of handling defects. So this is how company profited a lot in, so that is called as contract logistics. So there are various examples of logistics which you can see in and around you. So there are how the 3PL, 4PL has got evolved. It was 1PL initially, everything was done by the company themselves. Then 2PL procures manufactured products and performs some or all logistics processes in-house. Then came 3PL. 3PL performs logistics processes on behalf of manufacturers and distributors. And 4PL manages logistics processes on behalf of manufacturers, distributors, and logistics service providers. 4PL is still not much in use, while it has been there for last 5-7 years. But so far 3PL has been working successfully. 4PL is one who will handle everything for you, including your distributors and transporters, logistics service providers. Now then, one of the most important aspect, what time it is now? Sorry, let me see.
$7:10.
Would you like to take a break for 5 minutes?
No, sir, continue.
Okay, I'll continue then. Now CRM is another area, that is customer relationship management. This is a part of logistics nowadays, or a supply chain management. This has become a very crucial nowadays because every company wants to ensure that their customers are happy. So what does this CRM include? Promotions, interaction with the customer, analysis and graphics, that is based on the feedback. What customer give, they will do analysis, order and customs, and then database and information, documentation, communication, and customers' loyalty. Today, CRM has become like an HR in the manufacturing industry. CRM companies are giving equal importance to get the customers' feedback about their performance, about the product quality, and about various aspects. As I told you previously, they will always send you one small survey, and then they will request you that please rate us so that we know where we are standing as far as whether we have met your expectations or not. So the definition is that it is a technology for managing companies' relationships and interactions with the customers and potential customers. Not only the existing customers, but those who are going to be the customers. See how you are, just try and see when you are surfing on Amazon or Flipkart, and then when you go to आपने सर्व कर लिया कोई प्रोडक्ट आपको देखना था आपने देख लिया, you are not taken a decision to buy, and then you close those apps and then you go to YouTube. You will see that those products are flashed first on the YouTube when you open. So the technology has gone so ahead that a company, they are keeping a track of what you searched, and then out of that search, they will collaborate with other platforms like YouTube, and those products are again being showcased over there. So it is a constant bombarding. आप ये देखना आप कभी भी Amazon पे या Flipkart पे सर्फिंग करोगे कोई प्रोडक्ट का, you will definitely see that those YouTube and other areas also, other apps also, you will constantly go on getting the same products again and again. But they would prompt you by having seen that product on our platform, wherever you are going, they will try to show the same product and they will want you to purchase those products. What is the simple goal? Improve business relationship and to improve the customer's experience. In CRM, what company does is that having delivered you a product, it wants to improve the business relationship and the experience with you so that you will buy from them again and again. So that is the goal of CRM. When you go on buying again and again, what happens is the company's turnover, the company's profitability, the whole gamut of manufacturing and supply chain will pick up. A CRM system helps companies to stay connected to customers, streamline processes, and improve profitability. I'll give you one classic example. I was just going through some ad on Google about Hellman products. Hellman is mayonnaise. Okay. When I saw their entire brochure, and I was just wanted to just see what it is. So then I found that there is no product which does not have onion and garlic in it. I couldn't see any product. So I simply wrote from my mobile. I just sent them, there are so many people in India who don't use garlic and onion. So do you have mayonnaise? Believe me, in next 2 hours, I had a reply from them. I did send the message in the evening. I got the message in the night. They said, yes, we have the product. This is the product which does, and we guarantee 100% that doesn't have onion and garlic in it. So that is the way the response came. So they are connecting to the customers. So now it is a 24/7 process. It has never happened morning 9 to 6. Now Michael Liboff is another consultant, and he has said that a satisfied customer is the best business strategy of all. You may be having number of business strategies. How to produce a quality product at a price. So many strategies you have. How much you will increase your volume of production. How will you diversify? They are all strategies. But ultimately, the best strategy is the one where your customer is satisfied. That is all the CRM talks about. And these are mantras of logistics and particularly CRM. Customer satisfaction is the bottom line in any business. You know who is this? Microsoft, Bill Gates.
Yes.
Your most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning. This is another famous word sentence he has said. Your most unhappy customers. So what happens when a customer is unhappy? He gives you the complete feedback about what the defects or what are the problems. So he will give you the other customers who are satisfied. They may say good, excellent, okay. But when a customer is not satisfied, he will tell you 10 reasons as to why he was not satisfied. And that is what helps a company to improve a product or services. Now, this is another Patricia Fripp. She is from Europe. She has said that it is not your customer's job to remember you. See, these are greatest sentences of a CRM. And not only CRM, this applies to all the departments where you are working. Now, in the company, there are, say, each department, separate department is a customer to each other. And you know, that is, you must have heard also. A production and stores, they are not too different. Stores is a customer for production. So production, so it applies the same theory of relationship with the customer. Not only outside customers, but inside, within the company customers also. Every department is a customer to each other. Now, this is being also taught in ISI. Those who have undergone through ISI certification in any company as a team member of ISI implementation, ISO implementation, you would have seen that the very first thing the ISO consultant would ask you to do it is draw a matrix, how each department is connected with each other. In your company also, if you have not done that in the past, when you are sitting, if you have nothing much to do, just think in your own company, how the departments are responsible for each other for which activity. It becomes a very complex matrix, right from the management till customer. And that matrix, if you start drawing it, then you will realize, yeah, each one is a customer to the other. In ISO, this is the first thing a consultant wants you to do, because then it establishes two things. One is the process flow within the organization, how the documents move, how the decisions move, and who is customer of whom. So that's the first thing in ISO, they need to establish this. Because based on that, once it is finalized by the management, that yes, this is our metrics, then the next step involves making individual process flows or manuals for each department. So it is not your customer's job to remember you. It is your obligation and responsibility to make sure they don't have the chance to forget you. Your product, in terms of quality, delivery, and price, has to be so unique that your customer would recommend to others, and he will also buy from you in future. If any one of the things is missing, he will buy one time or maybe twice, then he will say, "Arey nahi, iska product to hamesha aise aata hai. Let us forget about it." So then he goes to your competitor. So CRM talks about our obligation to maintain a customer. Another great. It takes months to find a customer and seconds to lose one. To develop a customer, after COVID, this has become very less. But before that, while I was working, I retired in 2018. But believe me, we used to go and meet our customers at their factory or at their offices very frequently for new jobs, for existing jobs, for follow-ups, for payment, so many things. For developing a new business with a customer, we used to not only go individually, but with a team of experts. Somebody from technology, somebody from transportation, somebody from logistics, finance. So a team would go and talk to the customer. Particularly those large transportation like these windmill blades. Believe me, it's one of the uh, very typical uh, item to be transported. Then large boilers. So pressure vessels. So many things. So we used to go and meet the customer in their office and give presentation and persuade them to. So after having gone with him for half a dozen times, given him quotations, then negotiations, so many things were happening. And say at the end of 6 or 8 months, we would develop a customer. And then what happens? New customers, when you develop, one has to give a personal attention to what you have promised. I have seen there are many logistics persons or companies who have suffered because they got the business, but in the very first transportation which they handled, they failed to deliver in time, or there was some accident, or they did not meet some specification. The vehicle did not come in time. So the company never invited them again. So this is very crucial. Now, after the COVID, everything is happening online. But still you have to persuade your customer number of times to give you a business. So CRM talks about this. What CRM does is that you don't need to lose a customer. Great companies know supply chain is a key differentiator to separate them from the competition. This is also very fiercely being talked about in the current industrial scenario, that every competitor wants to outshine the other. For that, they need everybody, supply chain management becomes a key role, because every link of supply chain, right from the raw material till it is delivered to a customer, end customer, the whole chain has its own costs. Now, optimizing those costs at every chain, finding the best supplier for raw material, good quality raw material, manufacturing in the best possible manner, then storing it in the warehouse and delivering it to the customer. So this every step in supply chain is a cost. Now, once you optimize this cost, everybody is in the process of optimizing the costs and improve the supply chain efficiency. So today, supply chain is one of the key differentiator between the companies. Somebody may be delivering it you at 1 rupee per kg. The other company would deliver at 90 paisa per kg. So his product may be slightly cheaper. Not great difference, but still. Then another part of supply chain management is strategic planning and supply chain. Strategic planning is also another important aspect of supply chain. Now this TSMC, do you know what is this TSMC company is? This is the world's best Taiwanese company who are manufacturing chips, and they are the suppliers to all the countries in the world, wherever there are manufacturing of vehicles or electronics. Nowadays, because of the issue with China, and Taiwan. Taiwan also has proposed to shift some of their manufacturing activities to USA. In India also, we are thinking of putting up our own chip manufacturing facility, wherein Vedanta has taken a lead and Gujarat, the land has been allotted to them and they are setting up a chip manufacturing. So TSMC is the world's best and the biggest supplier of chips to industry. Last year, if you remember, last almost 1.5 years, the delivery of cars in India was delayed. They were not able to promise, including Maruti and others. Because one of the only reason which the companies gave was shortage of chips. Because the entire cars are now electronic cars. So without strategy, execution is aimless, and without execution, strategy is useless. You can't execute a activity if you don't have a strategy. What does the strategy say? How I'm going to do it, what resources I'm going to need it, how I'm going to time it. So you have to have a strategy of execution, anything in the industry. And if you are not executing properly, whatever you have designed a strategy, if you don't follow it strictly, and if you don't execute properly, then whatever strategy you have done becomes useless. In day-to-day life, every day you are doing a strategy in the morning when you come to your office or a factory or a workplace. Unknowingly, you have a strategy in your mind that how you are going to handle a particular situation. You know, today I'm going to receive 10 trucks of material or machinery. So when you go there in the morning, you know that what you are expecting, and then what you will do to execute it properly, to unload it and put it in a proper place. You will design a strategy. Somebody may call planning also, but planning is something which comes after the strategy. Planning is not strategy. Strategy is being decided by the senior management most of the time, or departmental heads. Your departmental head, I'm giving example at a working level. Your departmental says, tomorrow we are receiving 10 trucks of this material. So strategy is that by 4 o'clock in the evening, this material has to be brought in particular place. So he will give you a direction, a strategy, how you are. First of all, he will give you that within this time you have to complete the task. Then he will say, okay, to complete this task, you need to do some planning, like how many labor you will need, how many equipments you will need, forklift, hydra, so many things. So strategic planning and execution are important part of SCM. If a strategy meets a goal, it is working. But if a strategy meets a target, it's a success. Now, meeting a goal doesn't mean that the ball has, in a football, meeting a goal doesn't mean that the ball has gone inside the goal. You have decided one goal that, okay, my product has to be delivered on so-and-so date by so-and-so time to a customer. That is your goal. Now, when it is called successful, when you're delivering either before that time or by that time. Aapne bola before lunch, 1 o'clock, I will see that the product is delivered. So it can be at 12 o'clock, it can be 11 o'clock. Then only it is called a successful strategy. Strategy, by just making a strategy to meet a particular goal, I will deliver it on so and so date, by not giving a time, उस दिन पहुंच जाएगा. On 12th it will reach. But whether morning, evening, afternoon, if you don't specify. So you have to have a target. Only then these strategies were successful if it meets the final target what you have decided. A strategy is necessary because the future is unpredictable. When you make a strategy, these are normally at management level, at a senior level. When they make a strategy, they decide the current scenario, the competition, and what is going to happen in future, what is happening around the world, what about the season, because if the product is season specific or which affects the product is affected by a particular season, you never know, so many factors. So management decides a strategy. Okay, next year I want to increase my production by 20% by adding so and so products. It may be new or increasing the current capacity. But there are many uncertainties, like Ukraine war, for example. Now, because of Ukraine war, in the oil market, everything became topsy-turvy. The European countries were suffering from fuel. They never thought about it when the war started. They themselves were responsible by putting sanctions. But when they put the sanctions on Russia, they found that their gas and oil was a problem for them. So they had to go to USA. India also had to go to, India found a way to go to Russia and get the oil at a cheaper price. Future is unpredictable. Now in France last week, if you have seen, so many riots have happened. Now this definitely affects your business. So if you have done a strategy that, okay, you have to import from France and the shipment would be on so-and-so date, and suddenly there are riots like this, your shipment won't leave France. So with unpredictable future, strategy is necessary because you can take into account all uncertainties. These are the definitions. It is a process of analyzing, evaluating, and defining supply chain strategies, including network design, manufacturing and transportation strategy, and inventory policy. In supply chain, your strategies are at all these levels. What type of transport you will use, whether you will use 16-feet trucks or a big trailers. Okay, how you will optimize the per ton transportation cost by changing your packaging or by changing the type of vehicle you are using. Live example is the tire industry. Have you ever seen tires being dispatched in an open truck? Tires are being dispatched from one place to the other from tire manufacturing companies across India in a closed containerized body trucks, because a lot of theft takes place in that business. So that is your strategy. Then, as I was shared my Adani experience, that you need a reefer container. You can't, even for a short distance, you can't have a non-reefer truck to deliver the cargo, the fruits. So again, the goal of supply chain strategic planning is to optimize the overall performance of the supply chain in order to achieve desired level of cost, services, and sustainability. Cost and service we have discussed quite a few times. Sustainability means you have to continuously sustain the optimization of cost and services that you have done. It can't be a one time or 2-3 times. It has to be a consistent and sustainable strategy to optimize the overall performance. For planning, what you need to understand is a deep understanding of the specific needs and priorities of your organizations, as well as ongoing collaboration and cooperation between different stakeholders. So first of all, you need to know what are the priorities of your organization. This happens on a daily basis or a monthly meeting. See, many companies you have a monthly meeting or twice a month, every 15 days you have a meeting where people get together and they decide what priorities next 15 days or next 1 month. Because particularly these are applicable only when there are festivals, when there are seasonal products, when there are special days like 26th January, 15th August, you will see a lot of things happening in the market. So specific needs and priority of your organization has to be known. This is the responsibility of a senior person, because not all the level people will attend those meetings, management meetings. So when the management gives the direction for priority of activities, this has to be conveyed down the line. Everyone should understand what is the priority of the organization. And suppose you are working in a warehouse, you are in charge of a warehouse. Then ongoing collaboration and cooperation between different stakeholders. What does it mean? Who are the different stakeholders? Transporter is your stakeholder. From the back side, you have manufacturing unit is your stakeholder. So you have to have a very good collaboration, cooperation between your incoming and outgoing. Next two chain, incoming chain and outgoing chain. All the three, they have to collaborate with each other for a better result. Then another important part of strategic planning is facility location and distribution. Where will you put your warehouse? This is also applicable in case of manufacturing unit. Where will you set up your manufacturing unit? And those where manufacturing unit is existing, where will you establish your warehouse? So selection of location is the process of finding and establishing the ideal geographical location for a facility or activity of supply chain and distribution. You will see that there are companies those who are into solar power manufacturing. You will not find them that they will set up their solar. The sun shines across the globe or across the entire India at the same time with the same intensity maybe. But why? Why solar power projects are not set up 10 megawatt, 5 megawatt? I'm talking about big power projects, solar power projects. They are mostly concentrated towards Rajasthan and towards those areas which are ideally suited to receive the maximum clear sunlight for the longest period of the day. And there are no restricting or disturbing events in and around that. Because if you have seen a 5 megawatt or 10 megawatt solar power project, you will see a long lengths of solar panels being laid. and then each are connected, and that is how the power is accumulated and distributed. So similarly, for everything, location becomes very important to decide what is the ideal location for your activity. What are the factors? Proximity to suppliers and customers. This is the very easiest one. That mostly, because why suppliers? Let us say customer is secondary, but why suppliers? If your product is raw material based product, like a steel mill, if you're having steel manufacturer, you need a lot of iron ore and fuel. So if I put up a steel plant in Gujarat, and if I have to get an iron ore from Bengal or Orissa, do you know what is the cost of transportation? Coal, another classic case. But yet, there are so many other factors that people take it into account for setting up the plant, not only this. But generally, for an engineering industry, this is applicable more, that proximity to suppliers. Nearer the supplier, the better and the faster delivery, and it is within your control. And customers. Now, if your plant is located somewhere in a major city, nearby major city, you have some ready-made customers available. But nowadays that has become obsolete mostly, because now customers are available on the internet. Proximity to highways and roads. Now this is crucial part, that your highways and roads will decide how fast the material can come up to your warehouse or a factory. Better the highways and roads, better it is for you to get the material. Because sometimes nowadays, if you have seen in this monsoon season, the highways and roads get flooded, and that's there the deliveries or movement of materials are getting affected. But still, on a high, this is become one of the important factor for deciding the location of your warehouse or a factory. Another important, availability of labor and other resources. Good trained labor should be available, not only untrained labor. Untrained labor you will get everywhere, most of the places. But getting trained labor is a crucial. Then once you're talking of labor, then potable water, electricity. These are another key factors for deciding the location. I'll give you an example. I am in Vadodara in Gujarat. Now, in and around Vadodara, 30 kilometers of Vadodara, radius of 30 kilometers, in north, east, west, south, there are 4 major industrial estates, each one having around 200 to 500 small to large industries, small scale to large scale industries. Vadodara is a city. So in the morning rush hours, if you see, from 6 o'clock in the morning, you will see that buses, company buses will carry people from their homes to the factory, and in the evening they come back. So there is a lot of rush in the morning hours. People have their own vehicles, so the roads are jammed, not very, and then the police also has to regulate the traffic. But what has happened is, the location of these industries is so nicely made that they are able to stay in Vadodara. Vadodara is a cultural place in Gujarat, and we have university, colleges, schools, markets, malls, theaters, everything. So people stay in Vadodara and commute to these locations. So there is no problem of getting trained labor. Transportation cost, again, as I said, key depending upon where your raw material supplier is, where your plant is, because there are certain areas. I will give you an example again that in Himachal Pradesh, our plant was in Himachal Pradesh and the apples had to go right up to Chennai, 2,200 kilometers. So there is a transportation cost. But apple doesn't produce in other areas of India. So there is the transportation cost gets added. So people have to also think of optimizing transportation costs so that product becomes economically viable. Taxes and other regulatory factors. Now government announces various tax measures, tax ropes, that if you set up an industry in this area, for 7 years you will not have to pay these taxes. And then they will be given lot of taxes and reduction or in electrical charges. So there are so many factors. You will see why many pharmaceutical industries have gone to Himachal. Because Himachal, not only it is because of their temperature and other things, but Himachal has offered the best of tax-free regime. So you will see that now when you look around, you will find that in your own state, there are areas where the government has offered special measures where there are no regulatory single window clearance. So there are local politicians or local government people will not bother you. Your taxes are lowest. And environment. Environmental considerations. If you are making a product of hazardous nature or gaseous nature, then your location has to be, by force of the government laws, your location will have to be far away from the towns and cities or in a particular area allocated for such industries. Now there is another method of how you can select based on the type of material you are going to handle. Hazardous. Again, as I told you, hazardous materials means it will be flammable. Sorry, there's just spelling mistake. Flammable, corrosive, poisonous, various types of hazardous chemicals people are manufacturing. For that, there are industrial zones, which are called chemical industrial zones. They have their own facility of sewage treatment and disposal. Non-haz products means normally all engineering products are non-hazardous products. So then liquids, gases, chemicals, temperature control products, and food and beverages. So these are different types of material also will help you to decide. In case of fruit and vegetables, you know that if you are going to manufacture tomato sauce, then your location will definitely be nearer to the area where tomatoes are being produced by the farmers in a large quantity. Similar is with the grain. You will see all the grain processing units are concentrated nearer to the farmers' areas. When you go to MP, you will see that there are and then not only MP, if you go towards areas where cotton is being produced by the farmers, there are ginning mills which are nearby, which they will process and bundle it for further transportation. Now, these are some mostly people would be knowing, but I just wanted to share with you that in transportation, there are certain common terms which are used on day-to-day basis. When I thought that most of you, if you are not aware, or even if you are aware, yeah, I wanted to share with you because nobody will talk X works. Term is used as EXW. When somebody says my quotation is EXW means X works, means at his factory premises. You have to come to my factory or my warehouse and take the material. FOT is free on truck. That means the supplier will say, I will put the material in your truck. You send your vehicle to my factory. I will load it on the truck. Then further cost is yours. FOR, these are for local Indian distributions. That is free on road. This is very commonly used by when you are moving goods from within India. So in the people will say quotations that my prices are FOR Mumbai warehouse. They will specify. That is free on road up to the destination. Door delivery, yeah, we all know. Now, the fifth NVD. Now, this is something which I wanted to highlight with you. That those who are into export-import business or logistics, or even if you are not there in logistics, NVD is called no value declared. When you are transporting your cargo from by either a truck or by an aircraft or by a ship, in export imports, aircraft and ships are used. So there you will have, when you are exporting or importing by air, it is called airway bill. The document of cargo carrying is airway bill. And in sea, it is bill of lading, BIL. And in India, and for local transportation, it is called LR/GC note. That is lorry receipt or goods clearance note. Locally, by Punjabis and the drivers, they use the word bilti. They don't use the word LR or a GC. When your vehicle comes to your factory, oh, he will get, "Sab ye bilti laya hai, isme likho aap." So the drivers, they know the language of bilti across India. Now, what is NVD? When you are transporting a cargo by any means, if you don't declare the value of the cargo in these documents, like LR or airway bill or bill of lading, and when you don't declare a value, in case of any accident or any mishap or any loss of cargo, you will not get the full compensation of the cargo that you have. If you are exporting by air, and if you don't declare the value, the freight forwarder or the airline on their airway bill will put simply NVD. You should be alarmed if they use the word NVD. Because personally, let me now give an example of personal. You are going from here to USA for your meeting your relatives or friend or your daughters or son. When you land there, you don't get the cargo. Aapka bag nahi aaya. If you see the airline rules for lost baggages, you will laugh. So, because they will first of all make you to wait for a longer period of time. They will say, I am searching, we are searching. When you finally go to compensation, that compensation is based on per kg. It is not based on the items that are there inside. Please check this. My earnest request to all of you is, do not dispatch a cargo without declaring a value. Now, usse kya hota hai? When you declare a value, what happens? Insurance comes in the picture. then the transporter will say, your cargo is of 10 lakhs. I will charge you so much premium for transit insurance. That is an extra cost. But one should not be worried when about this extra cost, because it saves you one mishap in a year will wipe off your all the savings that you have done by of not taking insurance throughout the year. The losses would be so much that you will be repenting. अरे मैंने क्यों नहीं दिया. Companies have open policies. Within your company, you have to ask, do we have an open policy? Because companies take open policy. Let us say companies ka, every company will decide कि मेरा transportation per year is say 10 crores. So they will take an insurance for 10 crores. But they will not pay premium for 10 crores. Every month there is a declaration to be given. There is a format of insurance company, truck number, LR number, bill number, invoice number. There are so many columns. You have to submit to your insurance company. That means, say, for in this month you have dispatched 1.5 crores. So then what value remains for the further is 8.5 crores. So there are open policies. So if you are handling transportation, you must be very sure of the insurance, covering insurance for your transportation, for your cargo. And you have to ask the relevant department in your company and write down the policy number. Because what happens in the transport document, there are columns: insurance covered by consignor, insured covered by consignee, or insurance covered by the transporter. So what transporter will do? वो तो cover करेगा नहीं. So he will not put any tick. That means there is no insurance. You have to ensure that local deliveries should be ticked appropriately depending upon your contract with the customer. You have to tell your customer that insurance आपका है, आप मुझे उसका policy number वगैरह दो. Please give me the policy numbers. I will write it on the LR or the dispatch document. Similarly, if it is in your scope, then you have to ask your company and write the same insurance policy details on the dispatch document. Then there is something called clause LR/GC note. Clause means when you are dispatching a cargo and the driver writes, see, this is what these are trickies. You are from 9 to 6 p.m. at your warehouse or a factory. Material is getting dispatched at 8 o'clock. So stores people or dispatch people would be delivering putting the cargo in the truck. Now the driver smartly what he will do, I'm not saying, there may be minor dent in one of the box. He will write in the LR or a dispatch document, received cargo in damaged condition. He will write at the back of the LR. He will not write on the front. Now, if your people are not smart enough to see this at the time of dispatch, when the cargo goes to the customer, he will see that at the back there is a clause that boxes are in damaged condition. Then he will not open. He will take the delivery, but he will not open. He will tell you that your cargoes, which is written behind the LR, please send your person. He will open the boxes only in your presence. So please avoid such claused LRs. You have to ensure that your LRs or dispatch document are clean. Then there is a bank approved LR or a GC note. Now in the industry, when there is a dispatch happening against a letter of credit, suppose your customer has opened a letter of credit in your favor, or there is an arrangement that your LR should be submitted to the banker, your banker will submit it to your suppliers, buyer's banker, customer's banker. Then Once the buyer accepts that, you will get the payment through bank. So whenever there are banking transactions happening, then you have to select a transporter who is bank approved. If it is not bank approved and there is a fraud which happens, then the bank will not can't be held responsible. If it is a bank approved transporter, then he is on the books of the bank and the bank is liable to compensate you for the losses. Then again, warehouse planning, layout planning. There are warehouses wherein there are various types of layouts which are made. I'll just discuss few of them. This is U-shaped warehouse. So in U-shaped warehouse, the cargo moves in a form of U. There is a reception, loading and unloading area, storage and shipping. So the flow of material in the warehouse is in U shape. These are normally applicable for small warehouses, not large warehouses. But this is one of the method of warehousing. Sorry, 1 minute. Then there is an I-shaped. That material comes from one end and goes by the other end. That is another way of, these are also quite popular, but they are again for medium-sized companies with not who don't store large amount of cargo. Then L-shaped. So these are another way of storing. We have seen U-shaped, I-shaped, L-shaped, and the very first slide what we have seen. I'll show you again. These are for large warehouses. If you go to Amazon or Flipkart warehouses, you will see such racks in the warehouse. Their warehouses are 1 lakh square feet, 2 lakh square feet, 1.5 lakh square feet. And these are the racks in which the materials are stored. There are forklifts, there are robots which are working to put the material in the right place. There are and retrieve from there. So this is one of the most modern layout for large companies, where large quantity of material is stored. The racks are sometimes ground plus 5, ground plus 6, ground plus 7 stories. So these are for large warehouse. This is the most common and in use nowadays. Now, safety signs, definitely these are another important factor, whether you are in a warehouse or whether you are on a factory, wherever you are working, even in the office, some of the signs are always better to be used. You will see many of them wherever you must have gone. General one is no smoking, fire or exit, first aid. So, but let us say the watch for forklift, danger, live wires, wear gloves. These are for industries. Restricted areas are for industries. These are very vital to be used extensively wherever you are working. Similarly, flammable materials, then do not climb on shelves in a store. This is another safety. Companies give a lot of importance to safety because anything harming to the human beings is a big liability for a company. Now, how do you improve all these efficiencies? Supply chain efficiency. So increase supply chain visibility. Your entire chain, you should be able to see it sitting in your place. That is from manufacturing till it is delivered to the customer. You should have a not physically seen, visibility in the sense you should be knowing what is happening in those areas, other areas of your supply chain. Develop strong relationships with dependable suppliers. Once you have developed a good supplier, a dependable supplier, you have to maintain it for a long time. So relations with him has to be win-win situation. Sometimes they may be defaulting because of some genuine problems. You have to consider those genuine problems and try to help them to sort out or come out of those difficulties. It may be financial, it may be human, that is manpower related, it may be machinery breakdown. So many things can happen. But one has to have good relationship. Perform consistent vendor management. If you have, say, 50 or 100 vendors who are supplying you various products or services, you have to be consistently maintaining them, monitoring them, and evaluating them. Form strategic partnerships that are mutually beneficial. Now, this is something which is being used, like the companies does a strategic partnership with 3PL service provider for managing the entire supply chain. The 3PL service provider will have a strategic partnership with a transport company who owns the vehicles, so that the 3PL service provider doesn't have to go out in the market and search every day. So there are strategic partnerships which are beneficial to each other. They need to be implemented. Automate supply chain process. Now this has been introduced last 7-8 years, slowly over a period of time. One of the thing is barcodes. Barcodes are extensively used in supply chain. So there is a sticker which is there on your box, and there is a gun which will read the barcode and give you entire description of the whatever barcode specifies, you will get to know on your screen. Then your software. Your software should be integrated with your parent company's main computer, so that there is a free exchange of flow of information. Then reduce the physical labor. Use forklifts or other automatic equipments for your processes. Then use integrated supply chain software. There are many available in the market today. Very good ones are available. SAP is one of them. So most of the large companies are using SAP, but it is very costly. So there are economical versions are also available, but they are to be used. Optimize inventory management process. Now, this decision has to be taken by the company, whether the inventory is to be kept for 1 week, 15 days. It depends upon the type of material, your source of supply. If it is an agri-based product, then you have no choice. You buy in the particular period of the year, store it and use for the whole year. So different considerations are there, but you have to optimize the inventory, try to reduce inventory carrying cost. That is the bottom line. Optimize a return management system, as what we discussed, that your return system, particularly it is not applicable to everyone, but Amazon, Flipkart and other platforms, they use this optimization of return of goods. Return of goods happens even in the industry also. that your supplier has supplied you, say, 100 numbers of bolts and 10 have got rejected, then there is a return system. Most of the companies, they will say that you have to take back the cargo at your own cost within 1 week or 10 days and replace free of charge. Or if you are not taking it, then we may dispose of after 6 months. So they are all return management systems. Use real-time supply chain data. This is the latest thing that is happening. That for how do you use real-time supply chain data? There are two methods. One is GPS. One is GPS. One is GPS. So you can track where your truck is moving, where the car, you see, when the Amazon guy comes and gives you the cargo, he will simply just take a picture and then hands over the package to you. And in another 5 minutes, you will get a message, SMS, that your cargo, your package has been delivered. So that is called real-time supply chain data. The more you use, because GPS is very popular, there are mobile-based systems also, and there are methods like what Amazon is using. Now, insurance for SCM is another very important factor in supply chain management, because one is warehouse building insurance, cargo insurance. Your company must be having insurance policies. You must study what insurance policy being used in your area of working. Cargo insurance, non-has, has, special cargo, open policy. Third-party liability insurance. Mostly what we do is we go for third-party liability, which is the cheapest insurance in the market. But that helps to the third party, not to you. So third-party liability has to be a part of your other open policy. If you simply take third-party policy, liability policy, then in case of loss, the problem is with you. Your losses will not be covered. I will give you one small classic example. If you take a two-wheeler, I'll just take another 5-10 minutes. We'll wind up. If you take a two-wheeler, everyone must be having a two-wheeler and a four-wheeler. I'm talking specifically for a two-wheeler. In two-wheeler, if you don't take a policy for the pillion rider and an accident happens and your person who's sitting behind you meets with some accident and he is injured, then if your policy does not cover pillion rider, you won't get any claim. Simple as that. Mediclaim policy is for your labor and for staff, office staff. Workman compensation policy, this is a must when you have a labor working in your department. Either if it is company's labor, then company should have this WC policy, or if you are subcontractor's labor, then you must insist to have a copy of WC policy from your contractor. Then there are earthquakes and floods, etc., are also to be covered in your policies. Transportation failures. Your truck gets damaged, or because of which your deliveries are delayed, then these are all additional clauses in the cargo insurance policy. In cargo insurance policy, which could be an open policy or on case to case, These are all could be extensions which can be added. Geopolitical instability. This is Ukraine war. Your cargo is going to USA via Dubai and all, and suddenly you find there is a mutiny, government failure, or riots, then what happens? There are special clauses. Then price hikes. These are not used in India much because you can cover insurance for price hike of your raw materials, by which your product becomes costly. That is very rare. Cyber attacks. This is one policy which has been introduced by the insurance companies, that in case your hackers are affecting your computer system, then there is a policy available against cyber attacks. Now, there are Incoterms which are worldwide used. What I told you was EXW, FOR. So similarly, there are terminologies in supply chain called Incoterms. This is called international commercial terms, so that everybody across the world, they know that the meaning of EXW is the same whether you are in India, whether you are in USA, or whether you are in Europe or China. The whole world has accepted these Incoterms. I would recommend you to go through these Incoterms. There are about 10 or 12 of them. XWorks, FOB, CIF, FAS. So there are DDU, deliveries related also. So these are being controlled and established by Internal Chamber of Commerce. And Incoterms are the basis of solving any dispute related matters as far as movement of cargo is concerned. Before that, before 1936, these Incoterms were not existing. So if I say X works in India, I would mean that you have to come to my factory and take the cargo. But USA fellow will say that no, X works means something else. Lot of issues were happening in international transactions before 1936, because every country had a different definition. So International Chamber of Commerce, ICC Paris, they have developed these Incoterms. They are maintaining it also. And the latest Incoterms are of 2020. These are very vital, and I would request you that these are the frequently used ones are EXW, that is XWorks, FOB is free on board, CIF is cost, insurance, and freight. These are very commonly used, but I would request you, please, on the internet, study in detail about Incoterms. Then there are shipping containers. Export-import business happens only through these large containers, which are 20 feet and 40 feet. And this is a dimensional chart. A 10-feet container will have a width, length is 10 feet, width is 8 feet. Normally, all international containers are 8 feet wide and 8.6, 8 feet 6 inches height. Only the length keeps on changing, 10, 20, 40, 40, 45. And accordingly, the interior dimensions also keep on changing. Say, for example, 10 feet long container length as internal length of usable is 9.3, because it is constructed around a structure, and that structure occupies some space. 8 feet width is 7.8. So one should be very well aware about the container inside dimensions to plan your cargo placing in the container, optimizing the space available in the container. Yeah, thank you very much. I think I have tried to give you the glimpses of supply chain management. If you have any questions, let me know.
No questions, sir.
Hello?
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Shall we close then?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You can close.
Okay. Thank you very much and good night.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
હેલો. ઓ બેટા હું એક સેમિનારમાં હતો. મારે ઓનલાઈન સેમિનાર ચાલે છે. એક 2 મિનિટમાં કરું તો ચાલશે? કે બહુ જ અર્જન્ટ છે? એક 2 જ મિનિટ બેટા, 2 જ મિનિટ.